Yes. I'm so
Josh, get
excited
there,
for
Josh.
this. I am so excited for this. I don't think you understand how excited I am to make this video. How happy I am to just shit on the Switch. And you can try to defend it, but I'm just going off. It's too late.
Hey.
Hey,
Hello. Welcome back to a new The Talk episode where we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch, give you
he's
the
gonna
update
talk
on
about
what's
the
still going
Nintendo
on.
Switch. I'm gonna shit on the Nintendo Switch.
Josh, see, here's the thing. Right off the bat, let's start the episode
Wait.
with I was right.
Oh, you were
I was
wrong.
right, Josh.
It was wrong.
No, I was right, Josh. I was
No.
correct. I was correct.
Opening
It
weekend,
sold like
Nintendo
you
Switch
you owe
sold
me $5,
1.5
Josh.
million
No,
consoles.
it did
Yes, it
fine though.
did.
It's
That's
March 15th.
yeah. It
It
sold
released on the
1.5
3rd,
million.
March 15th.
It sold
Guess what?
1.5 million.
Sold in many countries, sold more than the Wii.
It's a new console. Everyone goes out and buys new consoles.
Of course.
But here's the thing: what's
Go on.
wrong with the Switch? What are some reasons that it's gonna fail? Well, number one, let's look at the games. The games of the Switch. Breath of the Wild is amazing. 10 out of
Uh-huh.
10 game. It's gotten the best reviews. I've seen gameplay. It looks awesome. It's
Oh yeah,
crazy
it's
good.
fantastic. Can't argue.
Now, so, you're playing Breath of the Wild. You have this like 1 to 2 weeks of playing Breath of the Wild lands. It's fun. You're enjoying it. You have this console just
Mm-hmm.
for this.
hmm
Now, all of a sudden, what do I do? You beat the game. What happens next? You just gonna, that's it. This console is literally gonna sit in the corner of your room
What you say?
until Nintendo releases the new Mario games and the new everything, which we don't even know when they're going to be released. They say all they said is soon, but Nintendo's notorious for delaying games. So this soon could mean the next month. This soon could also mean summer, late summer. We don't know. So you don't know how. So right now you have one game, and there's other games out, but they're not that. I've watched videos. They're not that good. They're just pretty shitty games that are just super easy. And right now, so you have this whole console based off of just one game, and so later on, it's just not gonna people as the hype starts to die down, and people come to realize, oh, if I just want to play if I want to play one game and spend $360 to play this one game, then okay, I'll buy it. But like right now, it's not worth it. And
So you're
there's a
saying
lot of
later
cons
on
to
in
the Switch,
time,
though.
oh, do I want to buy the Switch for one game? You don't think other games are gonna release,
They're gonna
Mario
release.
Odyssey?
I told
Hello?
you. I said they're gonna release, but
Yeah,
they're not gonna release till later.
yeah, till later.
Like, so you're gonna buy this console and it's just gonna sit in the corner of your room for like 2 months.
No, people are gonna play the Breath
What are
of
they
the
gonna play?
Wild and
Okay,
every
you
other
played
game.
Breath of the Wild. What else are you playing?
They're gonna keep playing Breath of the Wild until more games come out. When more games will come out.
And that's when you overdo a game and then you get people to get bored of it, because when you're forced to play one game, no matter how good a game is, if you just play a game for so long, you'll eventually get bored of it. So
That's
you
true.
don't want people to get bored of Breath of the Wild. This is a great game. You don't want that to happen. So you need to release and the problem is they don't have any like new games to release with it though.
But Josh, the same thing happened with the Xbox One, and it happens with so many other new release for consoles. Like, you do realize that, right? I also want you to know that no matter what you say that is terrible about the Switch, always remember it sold
1.5
amazingly.
million.
Yes, sold amazingly, and it's gonna sell beyond their
All right,
expectations.
I'll go through some cons real quick, okay?
Okay, so
So,
continue on.
some cons.
Continue on with your argument.
So, do you remember when they first released the Switch that people were saying that it's gonna have a nice ass battery life and it's gonna be good and everything? Like it's gonna be like, oh, you
Uh,
can play this everywhere, right? Well,
uh,
according to reports, you can play Breath of Wild on your Switch for 3.5 hours before it dies. Which
okay.
it's not that I'm pretty sure they predicted to be a lot longer than 3.5 hours, but that's not too bad. But that's still kind of like for a tablet-based console, that's not that great either. 3.5 hours, that's like what? That's like one flight. You have a
Of
flight to
course.
somewhere and that's it. Just 3.5 hours. It's like if it's not like a road trip console that they kind of made it out to be. It is kind of more of a console. Another problem with it is that the screen. I've heard a lot of complaints about the screen. It's the glare from the screen. It's like if you play in the day, like outside, it's super hard to see the screen. You can barely play the games. To be able to play, you have to be playing inside. Even at nighttime, they say that it's kind of hard to like see because of the glare.
That's interesting. I mean, you can go around that and play inside where there isn't a glare. I mean,
console though. You're talking like okay, I understand. Like if you're gonna be playing inside, then why not just put it into the dock and just play? You're gonna be playing it like that, right?
Or you can go in your car.
If you're just
and
using
sit.
this as a traditional console, those two cons don't really affect you.
Yeah.
The third con though is that unlike other consoles, the Switch has like no memory in its base system. It has 32 gigs of memory.
Until the memory sticks come out.
Well, you can buy memory sticks. It just costs a lot of money.
I think, if I remember correctly, there were reports that said that Nintendo was going to release like memory cartridges for the Switch specifically.
Yeah, but even memory cartridges are expensive. Like even though the Xbox One has them too, and it's like to get a terabyte is like $50.
Well, that's a terabyte. We don't know. I don't know how much these cards will obtain. So that's all on the back burner. But again, go on.
So you have 32 gigs in your base console, but this is what I'm just adding. You have to add more money into this console. Like, it's not just you have to put a lot of money into this console for it to like be. It's like at first like $300 compared to the $300 for the Xbox One. Oh, it's pretty even. But then you realize, oh, it's only 32 gigs of memory. You have to buy a memory stick on top of it. Oh, you only get the Joy-Con controllers with the console. So if you want to get a regular controller, that's another $60 into the console, and like it just adds up.
Yeah, so you're saying that every
console
console has an external storage which costs more money on release sometimes.
Yeah,
every console does it.
Yeah, every console does do it. But other consoles, you can actually store games on them already. An Xbox One base has 500 gigabytes. PlayStation 4 base has 500 gigabytes, I'm pretty sure, too. This
with
has
more
32.
money you pump into it. Yeah, with more money you pump into it, yeah. But as of right now, the Switch has just released, and they'll send out updates and like update the thing until it becomes more and more. And I'm pretty sure they'll pump up the price as well. Same as every other console.
Now, and then, okay, they're going to pump up the price, and you're going to have a more expensive console, and you're going to have this really expensive Switch console that only plays, some Nintendo games, and a couple of third-party games like Skyrim, which I still refuse that people have told me, oh, it's going to run 60 frames per second. Bullshit. You know why it's bullshit? Because let's look at the CPU and GPUs of these. Let's just look at some comparisons, right? The PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One both have 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Mm-hmm.
The Switch has 4.
Okay.
The Xbox One and PlayStation both have integrated AMD graphic cards. The Xbox One has 853 megahertz. The PlayStation 4 has a 914. No, the PlayStation 4 has no, they also have 800 too. They have 800. They both have 800 with the Xbox at 1.3 teraflops and the PlayStation at 1.84. The Switch has 760 megahertz docked and 300 undocked.
Okay.
Compared to the Xbox 3, like I said, let me just go back again. Xbox One, 853, PlayStation 4, 800. Switch 760 undocked, 300 undocked. There is no.
Okay.
All right, that's just GPU. Let's look at the CPU. We're looking at 1.75 gigahertz for the Xbox One. We're looking at 1.6 gigahertz for the PlayStation 4, and then we go to the Switch, 1020 megahertz.
Yeah, I agree with you so far.
So significantly less.
Yes, I agree with you.
The Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So you're getting significantly less GPU, CPU, and RAM, and you have less storage. There's no way if and then regular consoles have problems run. the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 have games locked at 30 frames per second because it's hard for them to process 60 frames per second and it starts glitching. So a lot of like Destiny, GTA 5, they're locked at 30 frames per second on these consoles. There is no way in hell the Nintendo Switch is going to be able to run those games at 60 frames per second on a significantly less
See, I agree
CPU,
with you there.
GPU,
I'm agreeing
and
with you there.
storage.
But it's gonna be fixated to the Switch to where it'll run at an optimized level to
And
the
that
Switch's
is
level.
docked, and that's
To a
docked
Switch's
too.
level.
It's gonna be super shitty. It's gonna imagine
No,
it's
it's
gonna
not.
be it's
I
gonna
don't
be like
think-
stick figures
'cause
for
look,
Skyrim,
Like
especially
you
if you're
said
playing
before,
undocked.
the two cons that you listed before are nullified because it's also a console, but it's capable of doing this. So the capability of you taking
Yeah,
it
but
off
I
and then
think
playing on
this
the
console,
go.
the key for this console is the fact that it's portable. If it wasn't portable, I don't think it would have sold as well.
Oh yeah,
I think
it definitely
I
would.
think because if it's just a sitting console, what makes you want to get this console rather than getting an Xbox One or PlayStation 4?
Or
What's
PC.
or a PC?
Yeah, but the thing is though that it's the Nintendo Switch is capable of doing these things, and it creates games not for realism, but it creates games, in terms of
For Nintendo,
what
just
it can
Nintendo
do, what it's
games.
capable to do. So these third parties are also given these opportunities in order to create games for it or redo games for the Switch, but in terms of it'll optimize up to the Switch's level. I don't think Nintendo said it'll run up to 60 frames per second. I'm pretty sure I also fell into that misconception as well. But in terms of, it will have games out for it. That's just to extend its library of games, to invite third-party developers in on the Switch, and then to develop games for it. Indie developers are also developing games for the Switch as well, to bring in more customers and to broaden the demographic and audience in terms of in the gaming industry.
All right, before we continue this, I would also like to point out that a lot of consoles, like a lot of systems, seem to be moving. Like the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC all seem to be moving in this direction of we want like better games at better frame rates that look more beautiful, like that look visually more appealing. And so like a lot of like PlayStation 4 and the new Xbox One and PlayStation 4s all support 4K.
Yeah, but that can only go so far. And as I said before, with
Nintendo
the
seems to
example
be
of
focused
Final...
on, like you said before, I guess Nintendo seems to be focused on making more better story games that aren't as graphically good.
See, but by the end of the day, like what I'm saying is that what I'm seeing with the Switch, I see with a bunch of new consoles that release. And this one's no different. So you may be frustrated at the Switch for its incapabilities or its limitations, but to others they're just having a blast. Like I felt that way when I first got the Xbox One. I thought it was pathetic. There wasn't many games out for it. And the games that were there just crashed or didn't work, and it never worked for the Xbox One. So I was frustrated there as well, which pushed me to get the
even
PC.
opening weekends for the Xbox One, and even like the opening like months for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, they had some IPs that were decent.
Like the Master Chief Collection.
They had a lot too. It wasn't just like one or two decent games. They had like 5 decent games each. Like Xbox One had the Master Chief Collection. They had Rise, Son of Rome. They had Titanfall, and then like on the PlayStation 4 side. And of course, you also have your standard, Call of Duties as well.
Which no one got.
Well,
Because the thing is, with those releases, no one cared for those games. No one cared. Like Sunset Overdrive only sold all right because it was one of the only functioning games. Master Chief sold amazingly, but its multiplayer was very slow. And I don't even remember the other games. Titanfall 2 or Titanfall 1, they needed more of they're trying to buff out their fan base, try to buff up players in order to play.
That was like
so the multiplayer took a while.
Oh, it was a pretty decent first game. It was very under.
Yeah, they had a decent fan base. It's just that they needed more though. And it it goes up from there. So whatever game you list out, there was a problem with it to where it kind of bored people or bummed people out, and they could only play the game to a certain extent. So then they just switch to another one. And what you're saying is that, there's less games out for it, but people are still playing this Switch.
Now, here's the thing,
Zelda
so compared to that, though, like, and then you look at the Switch, they have Breath of Wildlands, which is a great game, but it's also just a single-player game, too.
Yeah. There's a bunch of...
There's no
games that can play.
No good
there's games they can play, and there's... Yeah, and some games aren't good, not up to par, as you said. But some people are having fun with it, some may not. Most of them are playing Zelda, and they're going to hardcore fans play that, throughout their lifetime. So, yeah, pretty much as I said, there wasn't many games like... If you look at a large library of games, most people say, there's nothing to play, mostly because they're all, boring or done with or monotonous. So this is just the same thing.
In this situation, you literally have nothing to play. You will literally look at your library and there's 2 games.
Dude, it'll extend though. It's going to extend. Like I waited 2 years. I waited a year actually. I waited a year for the Xbox One to have, and I still just played Master Chief Collection. Like very few games that I played, very few with Xbox One. It was a year later. Okay, so so if you were to make a form and send it out or email it to the people who purchased the Switch, how many of them will report, like, are you having a great experience or a terrible experience with the Switch?
Well, this is like the first opening kind of like month. I would say a majority of people will say they're enjoying it. They didn't feel like they wasted.
Okay, so you want to wait a month. Yeah. So you want to wait another month.
I want to wait
see what
until
happens.
Yeah.
Okay, that is what we will do. But for right now, I am correct. It's selling well. And people that are reporting malfunctions and stuff like that are very minor. And what is his name? He's everywhere. Reggie, right? He's one of the executives at Nintendo. Reggie reported that he was just now hearing about it, like at the time of when, the hype for the Switch was still up high, and he was like, I think it was either a tweet or like either a Tumblr post that got Reggie's attention, and he just now started looking at it. Like they said, but it was very, very minor. Very few amount of people like reported those sort of
that video I sent you with all like those like crazy glitches.
That video you sent me as well.
That was like those are just like game opening weekend. I don't fault the Switch for that because that's opening weekend console problems. Because Xbox One had the same things, PlayStation 4 had the same thing, the 360 had the same. Like it was just like opening weekend stuff that happens.
Yeah. What do you mean?
So what's gonna happen? So okay, let's look.
We can't say what's gonna happen though. We cannot say what's gonna happen. It's too early. We have to wait. Just wait. Just wait until the storm
wait for it
below.
To flop. I mean, wait for it to see what happens.
Yeah, we just have to wait. All right.
Wait for it to flop.
So,
hardcore.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Josh ranting. This was literally that episode. He wanted to do this episode so hard.
I wanted this so bad. I feel so much better now.
Do you feel better, Josh?
Yes. It feels so good to get that off my chest.
You sent me a freaking video of the Switch, of people using the Switch and just failing. I'll link that in the description below. It's hilarious.
In the comments below, let's just go hashtag Switch from Switch. That's right, Switch from Switch. Let's get people. Let's educate people and make sure no one makes the same mistake that 2.5 million people already made.
No, Josh. No.
Hashtag Switch
Don't
from
do
Switch.
this, Josh.
Switch from Switch. Switch from Switch. Switch
All right,
from
well,
Switch.
we're gonna. I think this is the end of the video. Before Josh gets revolutionary, and just switch back and destroy the
Switches
Nintendo.
from Switch. When do we want it? Now.
No taxation
with that
It's over.
representation.
This is done. Bye. Bye, everyone.